Hi everyone, Tom Slavic, and welcome to TSPN's News for Today. And every other Tuesday we have Supervisor Richard Forster, or somebody that he sends to help us find out what the Board of Supervisors is going to be discussing on their agenda the following day. So, how you doing, Richard?
Good, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better now that the fire's, fairly relaxed out, and it looks like it's contained pretty well. And I'm sure you'll be talking about there's even going to be a discussion on the Board of Supervisors. You want to start up?
Yeah. Just want to make a quick note that sure. There is a special meeting put on by Amador Fire Protection District and CAL FIRE tonight. This would be Monday the 21st at 7 p.m. and it's been moved from the Pine Grove Town Hall to what used to be the Calvary Chapel on Ridge Road.
Right.
So
okay.
People should be aware of that and be aware of the move. And the reason it was moved is because we anticipate a lot of people there.
I would anticipate a lot of people there myself.
Yeah. So I will run through the agenda pretty fast. We have first up a retirement resolution for George Allen, who has put in about 15 years. I said about 15, but he's been county surveyor for 13 years in the county. People may not know that. They always associate him with elections. And he's been through a lot of elections, 28 successful elections. That's all noted on the resolution. So George came out of the Motherlode Academy High School in Sutter Creek. I don't even know what that is, but it was there a long time ago. Went to University of California, Davis for 3 years, came back to the family ranch, worked at a ski area, drove truck, and then got into what his love was, civil engineering and land surveying. So we're glad he did, because he ended up at Amador County for a long time and going to retire this year, and we wish him well.
Okay, I wish you well too, George. You're a wonderful family. Come from a wonderful family. Very helpful to Amador County. Yep.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. The Butte Fire update, we will have probably much of the same discussion tonight, maybe not with as much angst as or anxiety as might come from the community, as you might anticipate from everyone attending tonight's session. But on Tuesday of this week, we will talk about the Butte Fire, kind of an overview of what happened, lessons learned, if any. But I don't think we've really got people have not seen the final numbers yet of really how many homes lost. We know in Amador, I think we lost 2 homes. Calaveras is just devastating. It could top 500 homes there. Loss of life, we anticipated being more than just 2 people that were killed that absolutely would not leave their homes. And a lot of people were very distressed because of the looting going on. We know it was going on because the individuals were being stopped on the way out of places, loaded up, and just how people could do that in the midst of something like this. But the whole thing is we want to look at things, what happens next time, what can we do better, and the great job that was done by people, by our fire community, by our law enforcement community, by our volunteers that just came out of the woodwork. I know a lot of people wanted to volunteer, help move animals around. The problem is they weren't registered with our Amador County Animal Control Office or the ACART group that moved the animals around. It's just for liability reasons. You need to be registered when you're moving those animals around. Liability one, well, as it was stated to me this morning by a veterinarian, you have to be registered so that you're moving animals and you might be taking them off property without authority to take them off property. So basically, by being registered, you have that authority. And even in the middle of a disaster, you don't have the authority to just load something up and take it, even though it's the right thing to do sometimes. Later on, you might find out there are ramifications. So with that, there's just a lot of things, a lot of lessons learned.
So people become aware of that. A lot of good Samaritans, like you say, would like to help out, but probably the structure that's in place is far superior to the possible chaos that could go on.
Right, and this will probably this will probably be the advent of more people registering to help in situations like that, because even the ACART group that was moving animals around and watching them at the fairgrounds, they were turning feed away because that feed hadn't been approved to be used for animals. So if people are registered, if they know what to bring up, it makes a difference. So we'll talk about all that.
Boy, really, that seems like a big area to talk about. Okay, it looks like next you have the Arts Council on the agenda?
Yeah, Tara Forget will be in. She's the Executive Director of the Amador County Arts Council, and what they want to do is apply for a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. With this grant, they'll put together an asset map, or basically a chart that shows you all of the assets in the community related to arts. So it's that asset map and the arts plan, and they need a request from the Board of Supervisors to put a letter stating that, yes, we support Amador County Arts Council in doing this. You might say, what's the problem with the supervisors doing this? We have a couple supervisors that have a little issue with their position, their former activities related to the Mocami River, and you know, it's like on one hand we're trying to, the Board of Supervisors has not supported the wild and scenic status. On the other hand, Arts Council was doing some activities, the beautification of the river. I kind of separated that. I think there was a line in between. Some supervisors have a harder time separating that. And I think it will be approved tomorrow. I'm going to advocate for it, but we'll talk about that.
It would seem the proper place for the Arts Council to be doing that anyway, to myself.
That's right. So we'll see. I mean, there's in things like art and different areas like that, I try and, you got to kind of separate the politics out. Sometimes there's commonalities, and you're better off looking for the commonalities than the negativities. So.
Sure. Okay.
The next item up, this came from the Area 12.
Like, I know we're kind of going through here fast.
That's all right.
12 minutes, but we have another 5 minutes to go. Richard,
okay.
So I just want to give you a time on that.
Area 12, Agency on Aging, has come up with an area that stemmed from discussions in Tuolumne County. And this is based on, for Area 12, it relates to the senior population, because that's the kind of agency it is.
Right.
But I think Tuolumne County was doing it countywide within Tuolumne, and meeting with the State Department of Housing, and their discussion was because people, and the same thing is happening in Amador County, people are having trouble finding affordable insurance out there. And the State Department of Insurance, and they're meeting with both. They're meeting with the elderly organizations in Sacramento, Department of Housing, but then they're going to the Department of Insurance in Sacramento and relating it to all of their residents in Tuolumne County, because we know people in our county, some insurance companies just will not insure because of the mountainous area and lack of 100-foot zone protection.
I'm just a little curious, is there a possibility that they could go to out of state, or looking at that across state lines, much like people sometimes feel that might lower health costs?
Tuolumne County has the ear of the state insurance officer right now and the state insurance commission. I think that's what you need to do, is bring the limelight on there, because the state and the state commissioner really does not like it when insurance companies just say, no, we will not insure, or make it so cost prohibitive that people cannot get insurance. So what Tuolumne did is they put together a 2-page questionnaire for the residents to fill out, almost 3 pages, for residents to fill out, asking what insurance companies did you get bids from, how much was the insurance, was it cost prohibitive? So they want all of those questions answered.
This is really timely right now, and a good thing to discuss. I imagine some of this will be brought up by the citizens at the, during the Butte fire in both venues tomorrow.
Well, and I know there's hesitancy from some insurance companies to cover, and a lot of it has to do with your rating, your fire rating in your community. Ours was, we found, artificially high at one point. And a lot of it has to do with your coverage. How many fire stations do you have? How many personnel do you have? Ours was not the proper number. We went and we were able to work with the powers to be and got that changed. That's not always the case, though, when you live in mountainous areas where you don't have possibly adequate fire protection, or insurance companies put artificial numbers on there to make it harder for people to get insurance. They don't want to insure areas where they feel there's a higher risk.
Right, and just to throw in quickly, there's a difference between a big, massive fire and, your home catching fire, your neighbors catching fire. One's easily, not easily, but is quite a lot different to fight than the other.
That's right. And I sympathize with insurance companies that, when there's large losses like this, you got to pay it off. But they go for years and years and years with no losses, and they're reaping the profits all that time. So at some point, you got to come up with the money to pay the cost of the losses.
Okay, a minute and a half. And
the last thing on the agenda, this will be easy to cover. A lot happened here, but this is a couple that bought a piece of property.
This is the one we've been talking about for years?
The what?
This is the one we've been talking about for seemingly years?
It is. Well, this is a different one. This is not the one in Plymouth. This is upcountry. This is upcountry on State Highway 88, the 25,000 block. You buy a piece of property, one thing when you buy a piece of property, you better walk that property and know what's on it, because these people apparently acquired this property not knowing that there were many, many junk cars on the property. There was lots of other trash, tires. It was a mess. And pretty much through the process, our code enforcement officer has been trying to talk to them. They have just been silent. The one thing they did, because it would have happened anyways, they signed the form to let the county get on the property and clean it up. Well, now, even though we've used money from other sources, there's still an $8,400 bill that they have to pay, and the total bill was over $20,000. Wow. So we've done our best to keep the cost down on this, but there were 3 contractors involved here: Kreth from my own, Aces, and then an upcountry company was involved there too in the cleanup. And I can't find that right. Foothill Garage and Wrecking. So anyway, they did a great job cleaning it up. At some point, people got to pay the piper. You can't just sit back and be silent. You got to try and work with our county departments who are just trying to clean up a mess that's impacting the adjacent property owners.
Thanks for coming by,
okay,
Richard,
Tom.
And make it down to that meeting tomorrow if you have any interest in those subjects. So stay with us. We'll be right back.